off tonight with breaking news. Former United States Senator Bob Packwood passed away today at the age of 93, according to his family. The Republican represented Oregon in the Senate from 1969 to 1995 before stepping down after allegations surfaced of sexual harassment, sex abuse, and assault. Tonight, we take a look back at the controversial longtime senator.
In the hands of a politician, that is where it goes.
For over a quarter century, Oregon's Bob Packwood was a fixture in the United States Senate. But the Portland native became just as well known for the reason he left that governing body as for the mark he made on it. Packwood was elected to the U.S. House in 1962 and the U.S. Senate in 1968. The Oregonian's most well-known political accomplishments were his support of abortion rights and a push to preserve the Columbia River Gorge as a national scenic area. He was also an early member of the Republican Party to call for President Nixon's resignation and orchestrated a massive tax cut bill with the Reagan administration. Packwood would eventually become the ranking Republican on the powerful Senate Finance Committee. 1992 marked the beginning of the end for Packwood's political career after the Washington Post published an investigation detailing numerous accusations of sexual misconduct towards female staffers, including grabbing and kissing a 17-year-old intern.
I totally deny that charge, and the story that she has told is not true.
Many revelations came from Packwood's own diaries, which were subpoenaed by Congress.
I still think it's a terribly dangerous precedent when the government can seize your diaries, your most private, intimate thoughts, can seize them and turn them against you.
In 1995, the Senate Ethics Committee voted to expel Packwood from the Senate.
This sends a very strong message that women can stand up and speak out, and women can make a difference.
KGW was at Packwood's Portland office the next day and spoke with staffers about the vote.
I don't think it's just. He's a good man. He's worked his whole life for the country, and he's dedicated his whole life to service, and he doesn't deserve it.
The senator would resign that day, ending a 26-year run in the U.S. Senate and a 32-year run in Congress. Packwood would blame heavy drinking for not being able to remember many of the accusations he was accused of.
I'd come the next morning after a party with my wife. I, in many cases, could not remember what I'd said. In some cases, I could not remember who I'd said it to.
He was replaced in a special election by current Senator Ron Wyden. Wyden's team releasing this statement on Saturday, saying, quote, "As the Oregonian who replaced Bob Packwood in the Senate and on the Finance Committee, I acknowledge his commendable record on abortion rights and tax reform. But his horrible history as documented in his own diaries will forever overshadow that public record. Simply put, historians' first line about Bob Packwood must include those women who he abused and assaulted for years and years." Packwood stayed mostly out of the spotlight after his resignation from the Senate, but did have a second act as a political lobbyist. He passed away on Saturday at the age of 93. Today, most of the victims of the Nippon Dynawave incident nearly 2 weeks ago are heading home. The Cowlitz County Coroner's Office held a procession along I-5 today to return 9 of the 11 victims to their families. The other 2, Dylan Miller, is outside of the coroner's jurisdiction, and Gilbert Banal was already returned home. New video from Washington's Department of Ecology revealing more of the site that the chemical tank failure. It shows part of the break room that was demolished in the blast that killed those workers. With the recovery and major cleanup over, state and federal investigators are trying to determine what happened. Well, new tonight, another Portland store burglarized with the incident caught on camera. Tens of thousands of dollars were stolen from the lost and found on Northwest 14th Street in the Pearl District. Jake Holter brings us that story.
Devastating, violated, all of the terrible words that you could come up with. Yeah, that's what we're feeling.
Listen as burglars pillage through a shop in the Pearl District. This was around 4 Thursday morning. You can hear the sound of glass breaking and objects clanging, the whole crime lasting less than 2 minutes.
I'm actually standing right where one of the vendor's glass cases was. You can still see the perimeter on the ground from where it sat. It was full of handcrafted and bench-made knives, thousands upon thousands of dollars stolen.
Lost and Found owner Pamela Whitchurch just gutted by the crime.
All of the jewelry is out now, and she's, put some other items in here to try to try to fill the void.
She says about $30,000 worth of merchandise was stolen.
I assured these people that their items were safe, and I did have systems in place to do that, but these people were obviously, let's just say, experienced at what they were doing.
Lost and Found operates as a shop where local vendors can rent space to sell their goods. She picked the Pearl because she thought it would be relatively safe.
I knew that there was petty vandalism. I knew that I would come in and probably have to repaint because somebody tagged the side of the building. I never expected it to be to that extent.
Police say no arrests have been made, and Whitchurch says insurance companies are denying their claims. She has set up a GoFundMe to try to recoup the losses. Lost and Found also on the precipice of their grand opening this August as they expand into the rest of the building. So she says she won't let this incident deter her.
So I know that this is a good place for us. I know that the community loves us. We are branding and working right along with, First Thursday and all of that that's going on down here to bring people back here, to elevate the Pearl District. It was once an amazing place, and we want it to be amazing again.
Jake Holter, KGW News.
Well, it's also worth noting Portland police didn't arrive on scene until more than 2 hours after getting that call for service. PPB says emergency calls that came in the same time period delayed their response there. Whitchurch saying she understands the strain Portland Police Bureau is under, but says she was treated like a low priority.
If we're not being protected by our police from such vandalism and thievery, who's going to help us? Who's going to help us? The only people that I think can help us is our community. That's it. We're down here on the priority for the police. I got that firsthand. I got that message loud and clear.
I don't know what the motivation was, whether it's hatred, mental illness, a combination of both, or just old-fashioned meanness.
We also heard from the director of Albina Head Start today. As police continue to search for the suspect they say vandalized their building that's in the process of opening. This video is from last Sunday morning along Northeast Alberta. You can hear the suspect muttering something to himself as he walks up to the big glass windows and begins throwing rocks at them, then running away. Police say they don't have any arrests made at this time. Director Ronnie Herndon telling us just 2 days ago, someone broke a window at another one of their sites, but at the same time, the community has reached out to help.
We've had neighbors who've reached out to us and said, we're willing to help you pay to replace the windows because we really appreciate what you all have done. So we certainly understand that that is not representative of most people, but it is something that needs to be stopped.
He says they're still planning on welcoming students in September. All right, shifting gears to weather now. It wasn't the best start to the weekend out there. We saw heavy downpours throughout the morning and the early part of the afternoon. Tomorrow, however, is looking a little bit better and drier. Meteorologist Joe Ranieri joining us with more. Joe, it looks like the Grand Floral and Starlight Parade is looking somewhat dry tonight, hopefully?
It will be. We saw from that live camera there, we look toward the West Hills. You can kind of make out some of that sunshine and the mix of clouds as well. But yeah, tonight you're looking at some dry conditions. The parade just started a short time ago. And in terms of rainfall amounts, this is what we saw earlier today. Just a little more than 1/10 of an inch of rain at the Portland International Airport. Outside our studios here in Goose Hollow, we saw just under 1/10 of rain, and that's so far the wettest day of the month. Not to worry, that will change heading into Monday and Tuesday. You can kind of see on the radar right now, still dealing with some heavy showers along the foothills of the mountains. We'll zoom out a little bit and kind of show you the Oregon Cascades, picking up a little bit of some snow showers here the last 24 hours. At last check, up at that Timberline Lodge at that 6,000 foot level, you saw just about 1 inch of snow. So kind of fun to see, but it's already starting to melt away. I'll show you that in a live camera coming up my full forecast. Along the northern Oregon coast, some light drizzle as we take a live look from our Visit Seaside camera. Temperatures in the mid-50s. From our Wells Fargo Tower camera here in the city, temperature right now of 61 degrees. Again, for the parade goers who are probably out there already, John, you are going to be seeing dry conditions, but I am tracking some pretty good organized storm that's going to be arriving for the early part of this week, but I also have the chance to see 90-degree weather. I'll have all that in the 7-day forecast in just a few minutes.
All right, Joe, sounds good. We'll see you later in the show. We have an update now on an assault investigation in Portland. The suspect now facing murder charges after the victim died this week in the hospital. Well, this is 44-year-old Rebecca Lang. Portland police say on Friday, May 22nd, 64-year-old Roberto Velasquez attacked Lang with a blunt object on Nadeau Parkway in Old Town. He was found and arrested later that evening. Portland police say the investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information who hasn't already reached out should contact them. The community of Sandy remains in mourning after 3 people, a mother, a grandmother, and a teenage neighbor, were shot and killed. Last night, people gathered together to honor 16-year-old Coben McClure. Catherine Cook takes us there.
Hundreds filled the Sandy High Stadium Friday night to remember 16-year-old Coben McClure.
He was the kind of person who can make people laugh without even trying.
Coben, one of 3 people shot and killed in Sandy last weekend.
He was someone who generally cared about the people around him.
Many wore camouflage because that's what Coben loved to wear. They brought balloons, drove motorcycles. Some came as families, others by themselves. A cross-section that Gunnar Carson says is just like Sandy, united in their differences and resilient.
That we can rebuild really fast. We can get together and all of that. We don't really try and separate.
Gunnar made this cross for Coben as the whole community grieves. On Sunday, police say 38-year-old Brian Moore shot and killed his wife, Jenna Overson, her mother, Beth, and Coben, their neighbor. Moore is also accused of shooting Sandy Police Sergeant Garrett Thornton, who survived. Off camera, Coben's mother told us her son stood up for others, especially if they were being bullied. Many here shared stories about the teen, someone they loved, someone they miss.
What I want people to know about Coben is that he was so much more than the struggles he faced. He was caring, he was funny, he was goofy, and he was stubborn.
Loved ones set up a GoFundMe for Coben's mom to help with funeral expenses. Also, detectives in this case are asking the public for any video from the day of the shooting. In Sandy, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
More than 2,000 people gathered at the University of Portland this morning for the Heart Walk. This event is hosted by the American Heart Association and was emceed by our very own Matthew Herchick. And it brought people together to walk, socialize, raise money for research, and hopefully convince more people to learn how to perform CPR. The chairperson of the event saying they want to create a nation of lifesavers.
Sudden cardiac arrest has a significant impact on lives in our community. So if we can inspire more people to be CPR hands-only certified and trained and comfortable, then we're going to save more lives because more people will be able to provide hands-only CPR.
The American Heart Association hopes to inspire at least one person in every household to be trained and confident